North Town Samuel Ablakwa is a member of the NDC, so I'm sure he was also on the streets. Let me just speak to him now. Honorable, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Hi, Umaru. Thank you for having me.
Well, I was concerned for you when the rains started, but they didn't become a big problem for you. It turns out the big problem you had was a recipient of your petition. What was wrong with the recipient of the petition?
Well, I'll come to that in a jiffy. Let me use this opportunity to commend the vast majority of Ghanaians who turned up today. This has been one of the biggest demonstrations this country has ever witnessed. Very, very massive turnout, mammoth crowd, a really successful demonstration. The demonstrators were very well behaved. They abided by the chosen route. They did not destroy any property. And they confirmed what we have always said, that the NDC caucus in Parliament would not lead any demonstration that will be destructive, that will be anarchical, that will be chaotic. And so all the claims that the police made in court, you will recall that if they allow us near the Bank of Ghana, there will be mayhem where the Bank of Ghana is security installation. They can't allow us anywhere near there. And even sought to suggest, if you read their court documents, that this demonstration could even lead to a coup. Very preposterous, allegations the police made. I am glad that today we have demonstrated, the masses have demonstrated, the Ghanaian people have demonstrated that it is not we the masses, we the people, who are destroying this country. It is those in leadership. It is those who have been given political power, those who are the ruling party, who we have given our resources to manage. They are the ones who are pillaging, who are plundering, who are looting. I mean, it's clear now. I mean, if you've been following the exposés I've been putting out on a consistent basis, Ghana is no longer a democracy. It is a lootocracy. I mean, it's a free for all. People are just looting, with just wanton abandon, total reckless looting. That is what is going on. So now to answer your question directly, we are not saying that we disrespect other workers at the Bank of Ghana. We have been very clear from the outset that we are confronting the governor and his deputies. He is the one we are looking for. He is the one who has destroyed our central bank. It is under his watch that this central bank has recorded the biggest loss ever. This was a profit-making central bank before he took office. For the first time, we have losses of 60.8 billion. Never happened. Negative equity of 55 billion. It's never happened. As we speak, this central bank, for the first time in our country's history, the governor has printed money without parliamentary approval to the tune of 77 billion cedis in flagrant violation of the law. So we are dealing with a governor and deputies who are lawless, who have no regard for the laws of our country, who are mismanagers, who have destroyed the central bank, depleted national reserves, and have virtually collapsed the central bank. The central bank is now insolvent. And as they do this, they have the audacity, they have the effort, the sheer effrontery to say that they need a new office, they need a befitting office. To quote Ken Oforiatta when he wrote that op-ed to defend the governor, that they must move into a new office because they fear that an earthquake will happen, and that earthquake will affect only the central bank. They are concerned about only the central bank. So all the buildings there, the High Court buildings, Supreme Court buildings, the AMA building, the Methodist Church there, the banks there, they don't care about all the others. The earthquake will happen only at where the central bank is, that location. Probably they are running away from their shadows. They know that some cases are coming. Probably that's why they hurriedly want to relocate. And that new head office project, I have put out documents which reveal that the project started at $88 million. How does a project which starts at $88 million, that is the PPA approval they received, how does that project become $121 million in just 7 months? And as we speak, it's skyrocketed to $227 million. And if you add the controversial land cost to it and the looming compensation, the parties are in court, another reckless decision. We are talking about a project which is now hovering around $300 million. Can you believe that? At the time you have recorded losses, you are going ahead to build for yourselves a new office. And it's not even some modest office, an office that will take 3,200 cars by way of a car park, over 7,000 offices. I mean, I think Ghana belongs to them. That project could have been deferred. It could have waited. Look, we all follow international news. Look at what responsible leaders do elsewhere. Sensitive leaders, sensible leaders. Take the United States of America. They had ordered new presidential jets because their fleet is over 20 years old. Air Force One is more than 2 decades. When COVID struck, they deferred the arrangement. They said it should be done 5 years later. United States of America, a wealthy nation like that, their leaders couldn't take it, it couldn't be functionable for them that during economic crisis, they will order presidential jets for themselves. No, not in Ghana. Take Australia. Australia pulled out of the Commonwealth Games recently after putting up an impressive bid, winning the right to host the Commonwealth Games. Australia says that because of the economic difficulties, they're dealing with youth unemployment, they have issues with health delivery, with education. Their prime minister addressed the nation and the international community and said that it doesn't sit well in his conscience to go ahead and organize some 11-day games at billions of dollars, and then his people will be living in abject hardship. So they pulled out of the games. That is what responsible, sensible leaders do. Why is it that in Ghana, during an economic crunch, when people are suffering financial haircuts, pensioner bondholders, our senior citizens have to picket for days at the finance ministry before their own life savings, their own investments? No, they are not asking Akufo-Addo for handout, for favor. Their own monies they have worked for. They must picket days on end before they are able to lay hands on it. And then the central bank that has created this mess because of their illegal printing, they have created inflation. And you know inflation is really an arm robber. It erodes your purchasing power. We now have a situation where, with all of this pain, with all of this anguish, this government is going ahead with a new flash $300 million headquarters project. I mean, can you believe that? So we have always said that the governor is our target. So we were totally appalled. We felt disrespected when it was not the governor or any of his deputies who showed up to receive our petition. We said that we would not give the petition to somebody else. It doesn't matter who the person is. We're told that this person is head of security. We have nothing against people who work in security. We are aiming at the leadership. They have collapsed the central bank. It's not the security people who are taking these decisions. It is the governor and his 2 deputies, and they must be held accountable. So we have served notice. The minority leader has served notice that the petition is not delivered. We have been disrespected. The Ghanaian people have been disrespected. But you see, in a sense, I think that what happened today is really good for the Ghanaian people to see the kind of leaders we are talking about. When we call him a misgovernor, when we call him Addison the printer, who is illegally printing, who has no respect for the Ghanaian people, has no regard for our laws. He's running the central bank with impunity, like a lawless jungle. You saw evidence of that today when he and all his two deputies, not three people, not one of them, who stay behind to receive this petition. What are they running from? Running from the people they serve, their employers. So we now see who really they are. And I am glad that this gives us another opportunity to mobilize, and they should expect a much bigger crowd. We will continue to occupy the BOG until Miss Governor Addison the printer, and the deputy printers all get out of that place. We've had enough of the destruction of the central bank.
Honorable, if I came to your office to deliver a letter intended to you, your secretary may receive it. Even if it was a petition, it would come to your secretary. And this will not be the first time that an officer is being sent to receive petitions on behalf of the person being petitioned. When people demonstrate to the Jubilee House, and when you were in office, people were targeting the president. I remember the Occupy Flagstaff House guys, that's the Occupy Ghana group. They delivered it to maybe a staff or a chief of staff or a deputy chief of staff, or maybe a minister without portfolio. These things happen all the time. I'm just wondering and curious why you rejected this one in particular.
I'm glad that you've mentioned how we used to conduct ourselves when we were in office. I recall the Occupy Flagstaff House demonstration. The Honorable Valerie Sawyer, who was Deputy Chief of Staff at the time, and the Communications Minister, Honorable Omane Boama, were those the President asked to receive the petition on his behalf. These are senior officials. And the occupiers didn't complain. They felt respected that these are high officials who have been sent to receive these petitions. We are talking about a governor who has two deputies. So not one of them could stay behind. No senior official could stay behind and receive this petition and engage us. That's what we used to do when we were in office. I mean, look, these people must recognize that they are serving the people. All of us as public officials must know that we are only public servants. We are only serving the people. It's the people who are our employers. They pay us. All those things that the gold watches they bought is the taxpayers' money. The taxpayer they treated with disdain today, with disregard. The hundreds of millions of things they spent on so-called car maintenance. If you read their 2022 financial statement, all that lavish expenditure they engage in, which has led to the collapse of the central bank, it's our taxes. Governor Addison, or Miss Governor Addison, as is properly called now, didn't come to that office with personal resources. They must recognize that. All the Ghanaian people are asking for is respect. Just a little modicum of respect, so that you, having failed, having mismanaged, having collapsed the central bank, having incurred historic losses, which you should be so ashamed of, the least you can do, as you try to hold on to power, refusing to resign, you should at least come and show some respect to the people by receiving the people's petition. We represent the people. But I am glad that now the battle lines are drawn. There's really going to be a standoff. We're going to have engagements in Parliament. They would have to appear before us. We are going to ratchet up this whole resistance. This governor must go. We cannot accept a situation where a central bank governor thinks that the laws of our country don't matter. So he can just keep printing and printing and printing money, 77 billion cedis, and see the inflation that he created. The law is very clear. You cannot print beyond 5% of the previous year's revenue. If you must do that, you go to Parliament. Look, we are reasonable people in Parliament. Even if there is justification to engage in that kind of quantitative easing, come to Parliament. In 2020, they came to Parliament during COVID. We approved it. unanimously. Nobody opposed it because we are in a public health emergency. We understand perfectly that, look, lives are at stake. We have to save lives. So what happened in 2021 and 2022? Why didn't they follow? Because they've done it before in 2020. They know the right procedure. They know what to do. They respected Section 30 of their act. So what happened in 2021? What happened in 2022? Is it that because in 2021 and 2022, they couldn't justify the expenditure? They could not boldly tell parliamentarians and the Ghanaian people what they intend to do with those monies. So 77 billion, we don't know where the money is. And yet, you record these colossal historic losses of 60.8 billion, a negative equity of 55 billion. As we speak, contractors have not been paid. They are owed 15 billion. As we speak, school feeding caterers have not been paid. As we speak, food suppliers have not been paid. Only a few weeks ago, they were demonstrating. Look, everybody is owed. District Assembly Common Fund has not gone. MP's Common Fund has not gone. So all this printing of money for President Akufo-Addo, the Baumia-led so-called solid economic management team, where did the money go? Is it because they couldn't account for the use of the money? That is why they didn't come to Parliament for approval? Because they know the right thing to do. They did the right thing in 2020. So what happened in 2021? What happened in 2022? And this governor thinks that he can get away with this? Look, he shouldn't forget that in countries like Nigeria, there are governors who are being prosecuted. Lebanon, Slovakia. He should check what is happening to his colleagues. So governors shouldn't think that they have some immunity. It's happening elsewhere. Some are in jail for far less. I mean, you treat our laws with such contempt, trample over them, disregard Parliament, and you continue to do that even today by refusing to receive a petition. He will keep running away from the people. I mean, look, when you keep running away from the people you serve, it's clear that you've lost legitimacy. How long is he going to be running away from his own office?
Okay.
How long?
Is there anyone at the BOG you would deliver your petition to aside the governor?
We may consider his deputies. We won't go below that.
If a director came to you, you will not give it to them?
No. We don't think that this matter affects the directors. They are not the people we are looking for.
Even if they assure you that they will deliver it to the boss, you still not?
No.
And if
and we served ample notice. We told them long before today.
Okay. And if
this demonstration has been in the works for weeks.
Okay. Now you are saying that until he or his deputies receive it, you are not going to stop. When is the next picket? You are telling us you're going to continue to picket. When's the next?
Yes, definitely. We are going to continue with our demonstrations. We are reconvening tomorrow. Remember that this is a coalition. We have other political parties, CPP, PNC, PPP, and others. We have other civil society organizations, Arise Ghana. We have various branches of the GPRTU and all of that. So it's a grand coalition. We are reconvening tomorrow, and then we will look at the date. So as soon as that is finalized, we will duly communicate it to you.
All right. Before you go, there are two things I've seen you pushing. One has to do with a scandal you call Heaven. Another one has to do with what happened at the airport. If in 5 minutes you could summarize for me what you have been investigating and what you found, I'll be grateful.
Yes, I'll do that quickly in 5 minutes. So let me begin with the latest one, what I call the Heaven Scandal. It's called the Heaven Scandal because there's a company called Heaven Builders. And you have to give it to MPP. I mean, how they come up with these supposedly holy names. You know, the last time they said they are building a national cathedral for God, it turned out that, you know, after scamming the Ghanaian people, they set out to scam God as well. They spent 339 million. All we see is the world's most expensive pit. So I mean, just along those same lines, now they are talking about Heaven Builders who are not interested in building mansions in heaven, but they are busily looting our lands. So I have published documents of what is a clear, shady deal where the Ghana Airport Company Limited has gone into a sweetheart deal without parliamentary approval, behind the scenes, under the cover of darkness, and they are giving initially 38.14 acres of land to this company known as Heaven Builders Limited. And what is shocking is that they say that this company will help them with road construction and a few amenities, which they have valued at $85 million. You go through all the documents, the offer letter, all the documents in my possession, and I'll be putting out part 2 of these documents tomorrow. You don't see any independent evaluation. You don't know how that $85 million came about. And what is even more shocking is that there is no independent mechanism to verify that indeed Heaven Builders is really going to spend $85 million on road construction and all of that. So it's just a giveaway. They just want to loot the lands and share it amongst themselves. And what is shocking is that Heaven Builders has now made a counter offer dated 23rd January 2023, where they are saying that the 38 acres of land is not good enough for them. They want 62 acres. Can you believe that? 62 acres. So the analysis we have done, looking at current commercial rates for an acre of land at Airport Residential, if they get these 62 acres, they will be smiling to the bank, making over $250 million. And they claim they are coming to do some road construction at $85 million. So this is a giveaway, clear sweetheart deal, crony capitalism, buccaneer entrepreneurs who are colluding with their collaborators in the public service. And we are determined to stop this. We are going to summon them, all those who are doing this in Parliament. I know that the Ghana Airport Company is divided. There are sharp divisions, those who are advising against this loot, and then those who want to push it through and are even threatening to dismiss the managing director. We have enormous evidence to nail them when they appear before us in Parliament. The second scandal relates to the frontiers. Remember that during the appointments committee hearings of ministers, all of them ran away from the frontiers deal. It's remained a mystery for a long time. Manasseh Azuri did an RTI request. He was unsuccessful. Joy News also did an RTI request. They were unsuccessful. They even petitioned the RTI Commission. The RTI Commission ruled that the Ghana Airport Company Limited should release the information. They refused. They were fined $200,000. Ghana Airport Company Limited was willing to pay 200,000 cedis just to sit on this information. But the bad news for them and good news for all of us and all lovers of transparency and accountability is that I have secured all the documents and I have begun publishing them. We now know that this was a really horrible, skewed agreement where in an offer letter signed by Ablakwa on the 31st of August 2020, Frontiers, which was hurriedly set up 2 months to the opening of the airport, no track record at all, something that Noguchi could have done, KCCR or Kolebu. They brought in this Frontiers company owned by the real beneficial owner is a Nigerian fugitive running away from his own country, a dubious character. But he's the one that our government preferred to deal with instead of Noguchi and all those who were at the front lines helping us to fight COVID, some of them dying in the process. So you look at the offer agreement and you will be shocked to realize that Ghana Airport Company Limited said that the testing, which will cost $150 per person, they want only $10. Incredible. $10. And then they also give Frontiers exclusive right of the upper arrival terminal. So nobody else can come there and test. Only Frontiers. So they can rake in all the money. And even more, unimaginable, but really happened. They made this agreement a 2-year agreement. They offered them that exclusivity for 2 years, meaning that it didn't matter when the COVID fight was successful. Even if COVID is successful in a few weeks after this contract, they will still continue because they clearly had a certain amount of money they must raise. And our analysis is that they've made profits in excess of $130 million. Imagine what $130 million could have done for Noguchi. expanding the place, creating more jobs for young researchers, young scientists, buying new equipment. All of that has gone to Frontiers, and the Nigerian owner clearly has just left the country and is cooling off in the Bahamas. I mean, that is what has happened. During a pandemic, when people are dying, our government and the appointees at the Ghana Airport Company Limited, this is what they decided to, and that is why you journalists have struggled to get information. You've put in RTI requests, and they have refused because they themselves are not proud of their actions. They know that when these agreements see the light of day, they will be so embarrassed. But I mean, we have to do our job. We must carry out our oversight mandate, and I assure you that we will put out all the documents so that, look, public officials must learn. When you are given the opportunity to occupy public office, do the right thing. Don't sign agreements that you will not be proud of when they go public. You should be able to you should be proud of every action you take so that when it goes public, you can defend it.
Thank you so much for your time, sir.
You're welcome, Umaru.
That's Honorable Samuel Kujetu Ablakwa. He's North Tongue Member of Parliament.